Hey there, and welcome. Ever stop to think about how we actually talk to our computers? I mean, really talk to them? It's not some kind of tech magic. It's actually more like a simple conversation. And today, we're going to break down the 3 essential parts of that conversation using code.
So, really, how do you talk to a computer? Well, you can't just, have a chat with it over coffee. You need a language with rules, and that's exactly what programming is. It's all about giving the computer instructions in a way it can understand, so it can then respond back to you.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at what a computer conversation even means. Then, we'll dive into how computers listen, how they remember what you told them, and finally, how they talk back. And to wrap it all up, we'll see the whole thing in action.
Okay, let's start with the big picture. At its core, most programming is just a really simple dialogue. You give it some information, the computer does something with it, and then it shows you a result. We're about to learn the exact language for that back and forth.
First things first, listening. I mean, before a program can do anything cool, it has to get information from you, right? This is where inputs come into play. It's basically the program's way of saying, okay, I'm ready, tell me something.
Think of an input as the computer's ears. It's a command that literally makes the program pause and wait for you, the user, to type something in and hit enter. Whatever you type gets pulled right into the program so it can be used.
All right, pay close attention here, because this slide is super important for your GCSE prep. On the left, you've got pseudocode. That's like the blueprint. On the right, the actual Python code. Being able to translate from that plan to the real deal is a massive exam skill. And hey, notice how similar they are? Both use that keyword input to get the job done.
So let's break this line down. The bit inside the quotes, "What is your favorite color?" That's the prompt. It's the message the user sees on the screen. The computer then just waits. It waits for you to type something. But then what? Where does your answer actually go? And that question leads us perfectly to the next step, remembering. Once the computer listens and gets that piece of data, it needs a place to put it, right? Otherwise, it would just vanish. And we do this with something called an assignment. So, an assignment uses the equal sign. Now, this is absolutely crucial. In programming, the equal sign does not mean is equal to like it does in math class. Nope. Here, it means store this value. We create a variable. Just think of it as a labeled box, and we use the equal sign to put something inside it. And again, look how similar the pseudocode and Python are. That single equal sign is called the assignment operator. It's a command. It says, hey computer, take the value on the right and store it in the variable on the left. So x becomes a box holding the number 3, and spam becomes a box holding 5. So after this line of code runs, the computer has literally created a little spot in its memory, put a label on it that says spam, and dropped the number 5 inside. Pretty cool, huh? Now we can use the word spam anytime later in our program to get that value back.
Okay, so our computer has listened to us and it's remembered what we said. What's the last part of any good conversation? Talking back. The computer needs a way to share results or messages, and we call that an output.
An output is quite simply the computer's voice. It's how the program shows you anything. Messages, answers to calculations, you name it. It takes data from inside the program and puts it on the screen for you to see.
And no surprises here, this is another one you'll need for your exams. Notice the direct translation again. Both pseudocode and Python use a command called print. This command is super straightforward. It just takes whatever you stick inside the parentheses and displays it on the screen.
In this example, we're giving the print function a string of text, which is just a fancy way of saying any text inside quotes. When this line runs, the computer will display the exact phrase, "The parrot is no more," on the screen. Simple as that. All right, we've got the 3 pieces of the puzzle: listen, remember, and talk. So now, let's put them all together and watch a full, albeit simple, conversation unfold between a person and a program.
Check this out. It's just 2 lines of code, but this is a complete dialogue. The first line asks a question and then patiently waits for an answer. The second line then actually uses that answer to give a personalized greeting. So let's follow the data on its journey. First, the computer listens. The input function shows, "What is your name?" and just pauses. Let's say you type Arthur and hit enter. Next, the computer remembers. The word Arthur gets stored inside that variable box we labeled name. And finally, the computer talks. The print function grabs Arthur from the name box and joins it with hello to display hello Arthur on the screen. And that right there brings us to the biggest takeaway of all. Input, then assignment, then output. Listen, remember, talk. This simple three-step cycle is the fundamental heartbeat of almost every program you will ever write. If you can get your head around this flow, you are seriously on your way.
So there you have it. You now have the basic building blocks to have a real conversation with a computer. You know how to ask it for information, how to tell it to remember that information, and how to get it to talk back to you. The only real question left is, what conversation are you going to start?